yo, GG!
This is the K-Pop Cast, and today we've got a hit rewind special.
And this time, we're taking a look at the year 2013. We'll discuss our faves and then debate which song remains the most iconic song for 2013, as seen through the eyes of 2023.
Disclaimer, though, before we get started, there are going to be songs and moments that we miss, inevitably. So, guys, let us know what they are in the comments. But first, let's dive in to the hit replays of the year 2013.
We have some incredibly special guests who were around in 2013 in the K-pop scene and have some really great insights and opinions and debate arguments that they're going to share with us. First up, we have Jo from the K-pop Cast Slack. Welcome.
Hey, y'all.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. And of course, we welcome back to the show, Tamar.
Hello, thanks for having me back. I'm excited to debate and maybe shout about how great 2013 was.
Right.
Yes, it was definitely a great year. We were just talking before the recording about just remembering all the great moments, things we missed, and putting them in last minute. But anyways, it is time for us to do a really rapid fire recap of some signature moments to take us back to 2013. Tamar, we're going to start with you. What were some of your favorite moments from that year?
Yeah, so full disclaimer that I don't think you guys knew going into this episode. I was actually studying in Korea in 2013.
Whoa!
So
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So I actually went to my first moment, which was Dream Concert 2013.
No
which
way.
is a crazy, famous dream concert with every single group that we're going to talk about, or a good 2/3 of them were in attendance that concert. And I think that if you're a girl group fan, or maybe even not, you probably have seen that I Got a Boy performance by Girls' Generation where the entire stadium is singing along with them. And that was that dream concert. But SHINee was there, EXO was there. EXO, it was the only time I've ever seen EXO with 12 members. And they were an opener. They were little, it was before Girl came out.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, and everybody under the sun was there. SHINee was there. I'm trying to remember what the order was. Sister, 2 a.m., Tiara was there. Literally everyone was there. I used to have the poster, and I think I accidentally threw it out in my move, and I I actually need to never forgive myself for that. And then the other big moment, which I don't know if it's necessarily a big moment, but I thought in retrospect, now that this is my career and I think about K-pop concerts a lot. When I came back from Korea, I went to an Infinite concert in New York City at Hammerstein Ballroom, which at the time had what we now know as a crowd crush, and people really early on surged to the stage when Infinite got on stage, and it was, the videos were shocking at the time, and it was kind of the first time I ever thought, oh wow, K-pop really has an audience here, because this is the reaction that people were having. People were so intense. And luckily everyone was safe that night. But in retrospect, it's showed a lot about K-pop fans to be, and just generally concert etiquette and behavior changing over time. So those stood out to me. I don't know if those are everybody's, but they were ones that I was at. So these were my personal favorite moments, but I didn't realize I was going first. So
No, that's perfect. Next, we have Jo. What are some moments that stood out to you?
So the moments that stood out to me, first and foremost, this is the year that G-Dragon drops one of his, I don't want to call it a magnus opus because I think that's the next one, but Coup d'etat. He drops Coup d'etat, and one of my favorite artists in all music is one of his featured artists, Missy Elliott, on the song Nilydia. And
yeah, that's a tongue twister.
It was one that he had her on the song, but to watch the KCON LA live stream and see Missy Elliott come out on stage. Oh. And then not only does she come out on stage, she performs Get Your Freak On and she performs another song, and I can't remember. But aside from my personal enjoyment, and this is kind of, I'm having flashbacks to Outkast at Coachella because I'm noticing I'm more excited about Missy and G-Dragon performing than the KCON LA audience. I'm just like, you're watching two legends, two masters in their genres, combining forces on stage, and you're like, when G-Dragon performs, people go crazy. But when Missy performs, there is a pullback. And I'm like, okay, I see how this is going to go. Surprisingly, that reaction between K-pop and Western artists and K-pop and Black artists is a thread that I've noticed in my fandom. Where like Black artists that these K-pop artists either try to emulate or idolize when they perform with them, the features are often called unnecessary, which like I don't like. There aren't many artists I don't play about, but Melissa Arnett Elliott, 2023 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee,
the full name,
is one of the ones that I don't play about, and I'm just like,
yeah, what an honor.
G-Dragon is at the top of his field. Missy Elliott is at the top of her field. It would make sense that they're working together, right?
Yeah. That's one that makes sense to me. I was
gonna
actually
say,
there.
Tamar, were you
at
there
the
too?
concert.
I wasn't there. I was still in Korea for that one.
You're in Korea. Oh, man. I was jumping up and down, especially Get Your Freak On. I was like, yes. I might have been one of the only ones in my section.
I was about to ask, was it actually like this, was the audience energy actually the perception that Joe had? Because like, I cannot imagine anyone being like, oh, Missy Elliott, okay. Like, that's such a terrible.
Yeah.
How? I'm just like.
There was not as much applause for her as there was for GD or other Korean artists.
Shame.
It's true. Yeah, I remember feeling that and being a bit confused or disappointed. Yeah.
And I hate to say that, like, as a fan, that kind of set up my whole, like, how I interact with K-pop fandom in general. I just, like, I'm always wary. And then, especially, like, more recently with more hip-hop and K-pop collabs, I'm always on that, like, okay, cultural defense. Like, I'm going to get you up out of here if you come step wrong. And, like, BTS has kind of been, have had me in overtime with who they've been collaborating with, either in Black music or in hip hop. Because I'm like, talk about, like, I dare you to talk about Erykah Badu Sideways and see if I don't like electronically jumpy, right? Thankfully, y'all got
Like,
sense,
come to
and
the
like y'all
screen.
didn't come for Auntie, so I'm good. But yeah, and then the second thing I have is the front runners of Korean hip hop and Korean R&B today. 2013 is when we start to see them come out as artists. Crush, Zion T, Lehigh, Iley, John Park. I gotta rep for the Shy. All come out around this time, and they're like in their early stages, and then they eventually move out of K-pop and more into their R&B and hip hop fields. However, they become like monsters of the genre. So that was something that I had fun in reminiscing. And then the end of sexy concepts in K-pop for men and women. 2013 is kind of the beginning of the end. And I didn't realize it until I watched the video for Kill Bill. Because right from the jump, you're looking at somebody's pelvis. And I'm just like, whoa.
Woo.
I was like, I was shook because I was like, I have not seen anything like that in a K-pop video since then.
In a minute.
And like 2 PM's Grown comes out that year, which you probably should have known what was going to happen with an album titled Grown. Who else? Like, those were like the biggest two off the top of my head. But yeah, it's like sexy kind of begins its exit out of K-pop in 2013.
Not to say that there's not like sexy idols or sexy songs. We're talking about a very specific concept here. And how would we describe it or draw a line around it? I'm thinking like slinky dresses with a slit up the side and high heels and red lip and leather, body
Oiled,
hugging
greased up
stuff, oiled, bronzer on your skin,
shirt open or shirt off for the men, for the women.
Yes,
those like 6-7 inch platform stiletto heels.
That look of like what's her name from the never mind. The lady from the Rabbit.
Oh, Jessica Rabbit.
Jessica Rabbit.
Jessica Rabbit.
Good.
Jessica Rabbit kind of sexy is a great.
The Jessica Rabbit.
Although I will say though that you just reminded me about Wormhole from Brown Eyed Girls came out in 2015. So like it was like the beginning of the end, but Brown Eyed Girls still never have let go ever.
Right.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope. That's why I love them, because like everybody, especially Guyan, love to shake the table with a sexy concept. Paradise Lost. What was the same year that Wormhole came out? Brand New World, where she's like
great.
covered in body glitter with those Christian Louboutins and nothing else.
Oh yes. Ow.
I love her.
Yeah, shout out to Guyan. All right. Thank you. Next we have PD Nim.
Yeah, so here's where I have to make a little bit of a confession. I think I don't know if I'm confessing something that's bad, but for me in 2013, I do kind of consider my like true deep dive year into K-pop. So, even though I was like listening and like I knew artists back in like 2009 to 2010, for me, that 2013 was like the year that I started like learning names, learning the industry. And a very vital resource for me was Arirang's After School Club. Because that 2013 was the year that Arirang started After School Club, which was hosted initially by Eric Nam and Hanbyul from the I guess band Led Apple at the time.
Yeah, I forgot he was the original.
Yeah, and so this was their first kind of like secondary show other than their music show, Simply K-pop, where they, had artists come on, especially these rookie artists who, couldn't really make it on other shows, and you really got to have a good English resource to learn about these artists and to see them interacting with fans, because they would have fans call in and be able to ask questions to the artists. So, which sometimes going back, we're a little bit cringy at the time, but for me, especially getting, truly kind of getting into K-pop and not really knowing the language, it was like such a great initial resource to be learning about these new groups in the scene, which there were a lot of in 2013 because the big three didn't put out groups, but there were a lot of other smaller labels that debuted a lot of groups that year. And then my last thing.
Yeah, really quick note on that. I used to kind of be friends with Eric Nam, actually. And so around that time, I visited Korea and hung out with him and caught up. And we were just talking about how he wanted to do more music, but his company, his label at the time, was just like one person and needed a lot of help, especially like paperwork and English translation. And Eric was just like stepping up, doing business stuff, and as well as a lot of interviews and like variety shows, like trying to bring in extra money. And so it was intentional that he started branching out into variety more and talk shows, and like look at him now, he's like a king of talk shows and podcasts. But it was out of a need. It was out of his like English ability, and because his label could not like push his music career at the time as much.
Wait, I want to go back to you knowing Eric. Did you know him through K-pop, or like you went to college with him?
No,
like
before he debuted as a K-pop star, Gosh, I actually met him during the summer freshman year of college. I was doing a venture capital internship in San Francisco for like tech.
Wow.
And he was not even in the program. He was sleeping on the couch in the apartment of one of the people in the program. But I saw that he's Korean, as a young Koreaboo does. I struck up conversation about K-pop. And I learned that he was like, yeah, I actually sing covers and put them on Soompi sometimes. I was like, what? That's dope. And we kept in touch after that. Yeah, just we were just two like young people in the SF intern scene.
So funny.
I guess. Yeah. And we got along. Now he's like,
It's like a whole media empire from sleeping on couches.
From sleeping on the couch.
Wow.
Yeah. He has quite the
This
story.
is what happens when you give up a consulting internship at a Big Four.
Yep.
And then just to wrap up my section, my last notable thing, just because I feel like it was such a random thing to happen that year, but now looking back, it was actually like really significant for what was going on, was the 2013 YouTube Music Awards were hosted in Korea that year. And Stephanie, right? You were explaining like this is really significant because it was, a Western company, especially like YouTube, really recognizing the audience in Korea, right?
Yeah, the global audience of K-pop, specifically after Gangnam Style came out in 2012. I think internally at YouTube and a lot of Western media, they were like, yeah, that was just a fluke. K-pop's not really serious. But actually, K-pop fans showed out in their voting for these awards specifically. And so if you want to share the big upset, who won, like it kind of cemented K-pop's impact.
I was trying to remember. It was Girls' Generation, right?
It was I Got a Boy.
Yeah, I Got a Boy.
Was there anything else?
Boy.
I was like, I'm pretty sure it was just that. Yeah, no, I Got a Boy won for which
It was Video of the Year.
Yeah, Video of the Year.
Yeah, Video of the Year.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think, but like I'm looking at the list right now.
Yeah, they won
One
against
Direction.
Lady Gaga, Justin Bieber, Miley Cyrus, One Direction. They beat Psy, Selena Gomez, like some of the biggest names in like American pop. Got creamed by Girls' Generation.
And then they never did it again.
No, they did one in 2015, but I think it flopped and they were like,
Yeah, never mind. I think it takes a lot to put on that kind of show, just from behind the scenes. I worked at YouTube. Yeah.
Like Tiffany,
just coordinating everybody for something live.
Yeah, Tiffany was caught so off guard, though, wasn't she? I mean, I think everybody was, but like Tiffany, I think that's why I love how she said, how she ends the speech, like, YouTube is my best friend. Is it your best friend? I'm like, it's so very, I didn't prepare anything because I didn't think I was going to win at all.
so funny.
That's great. I
Stephanie,
love it.
wrap us up. What are your moments from the year?
All right. So one notable trend is that K-pop groups started to turn their eyes towards Latin America as a market for concerts. We started to see like the popularity and like rates of revenue and stuff start to go down in Southeast Asia and then go up in Latin America. We're talking Mexico, Peru, Colombia, Brazil. We started to see groups like Big Bang, Super Junior, JYJ, Dongbang Shingi, UKISS, like all book their flights over to Central and South America, and really happy for those fans to finally be recognized in that way. And my other moments that I remember from that year are a little less fun, or maybe they are fun if you like scandal. So first of all, Rain, Seven, and some other celebrities who were on military duty were caught entering a brothel / massage parlor during when they were supposed to be like on break or whatever, supposed to be doing military service, and they received punishment. There was a big scandal in the news, and like just big shame for for idols that had not really had many scandals leading up to that. So it kind of put some extra scrutiny on how celebrities are given a pass in the military service and like treated better. So yeah, we can go into more depth another day about the Korean military service in general, but I just remember that being a huge story, big disgrace for these two idols who were both married at the time. Also, another sad news story was that Ailey, our girl, our sweetheart, had nude photos of her leaked online, and they were published actually on All K-pop. I remember this being just like a really sad story that brought the topic of revenge porn to light. Like once it came out that, oh, her boyfriend at the time was actually an editor at All K-pop, and like I just remember the facts coming out like day after day and speculation, like who was it? Who did this? What's the real story? And it came out that her boyfriend, who worked for All K-pop, put those photos out. It's like, ugh, disgusting. She had, and through no fault of her own, just because she was caught up in this, she had to basically go quiet and leave the industry for a while. After putting out her amazing album, You and I, she was like peak of her career, but because of, shame of the female body, shame of sexuality, shame of just all of this, she was forced out, sadly. But she's back. She's back now. Don't worry.
Finally.
But yeah, do y'all remember that one? Yeah.
I remember it happening, but I did not know about him being an editor at All K-pop.
Yeah.
That brings a new level of raggedy to it.
So raggedy, trifling.
Right.
Man. All right. And the last one, our boy, G-Dragon, he says he attempted to pay tribute to Trayvon Martin by appearing in photos wearing a hoodie with black paint on his face, aka blackface. And it's like, come on, man.
Now,
the same year you're on stage with Missy Elliott, you know so much better.
Now, here's the thing, and I'm just going to, like, the Trayvon Martin case for millennial Black folk was a lot of our calling to consciousness. So I remember at the time when this happened, I was like, my mind was like on, what was that, Fresh Prince? He a little weird, but he got spirit. Like that was my thinking at the time.
Oh.
Now in 2023, I'm like, no. And like, no, sorry, can't go with it.
Yep. No excuse. Anyway, so that wraps up the scandals and signature moments of 2013. Thanks for listening. Now we're moving on to the fun part, which is notable songs. Who wants to talk about?
I'll kick us off talking about this one. Yeah, so our first track that we're gonna get into is very, very near and dear to my heart. It is EXO's Growl. So EXO, they debuted in 2012. Like they entered the chat. But it was 2013 where they really take over, and it's because of how extremely massive this song was for them. Like on a personal note for me, like it was the Growl dance practice video, which led me to like really start my deep dive into K-pop. But it was such a massive song for them at the time. Do you guys remember when this came out?
That music video.
I remember it, but I was still in my infancy in K-pop, so I was very much a girl group stan. But I do remember, like, so for EXO, I don't really come around until Call Me Baby.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah.
You know, I was the same way. It was all girl groups, and then I was like, oh, boy groups exist. Yeah. And EXO's kind of hot.
but like Growl, is one of those songs that if you go to a K-pop event, you know it's going to be in the playlist.
Yep.
And the floor is going to be packed when when the chorus choreography comes in.
Yes. I remember being impressed by the choreography, and I thought that the song and the way the video was recorded, was it in one take? Or
it was made to look like one take.
Yeah.
It was made to look like one take.
It was made to look like one take, maybe. But still, it was great. I remember being impressed by that. It was refreshing, and it was really apparent that the K-pop dance cover scene fell in love with it. Yeah, I remember going to events, and everybody's covering that song. I mean, to this day, like Joe said.
And it like made EXO reach that tier of like godhood in the industry. Like Wolf, like literally nobody cared about Wolf.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately. Although I will say that they later on for their concerts remixed Wolf really well. But at the time it was like, what is this concept? Why are they from outer space?
Yeah, and kind of Mama too was kind of strange.
And like Growl, everyone.
I was like, ooh, I can get with this. This is legit.
I think it was,
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think it was like, because they had been teasing EXO before their debut for like ages and ages. So like their pre-release songs were really good. And then Mama came out and then Wolf came out and they were both kind of like, this is interesting. But like nothing that like really hit.
Very theatrical fantasy, like very much deep in the concept.
And then Growl came out and was much more accessible, and it felt kind of like the build up. And like you mentioned, like you got in Call Me Baby. Like Call Me Baby definitely, like Growl's success led to Call Me Baby's style and everything becoming the EXO image. And this, so like
true,
that song made EXO, I think.
Yeah,
I agree. All right, next. Tamar, did you want to? I put names next to stuff, but feel free to pass it.
I can do it. This is one of my favorite songs of all time, so I can do this one.
All right, go for it.
I Got a Boy by Girls' Generation. It's an iconic song that confused all of us after it came out. And then it became something that's like greater among music that like people still talk about as being like an intrinsically K-pop song, like something that like is the exemplification of like what K-pop looked like in this era, like with the creativity, with the performance aspects, with the random dance breaks, with like the song shifting call outs. Like it was a very big production. And like they at the end of 2019 I did for Billboard, like it was a decade in review. We did a few pieces and I got assigned 2 of the K-pop ones, and one of them was I Got a Boy. And according to the producers and songwriters, like actually SM wanted it to be like a musical song. Like the idea is like a musical, like a full 2-hour length musical in like a song. And that's why like that's the story is like as if like this was a whole plot, and like that's with all the tonal shifts you get all the different elements, and I just love that so much.
I think I loved. Now, mind you, full disclosure, I was more of a Pledis fanboy, and like in being a Pledis fanboy in the early days, it was like Pledis fans or after school fans hated Girls' Generation, and I Got a Boy came out, and I was like, actually, they were on my radar with the boys, but I Got a Boy was like, okay, I'm gonna have to do a deep dive at this point, because isn't this like one of the first times we get the beat change in a song? Like we speed up, we slow down, speed up, slow down, speed up, or at least it's like probably one of the most famous early
the beginning of SM's like really experimental phase.
Their song within a song.
I'll kind of disagree with that one.
Okay.
Because I think TVXQ was doing like Rising Sun and Marauding were already, they like SM has always kind of, that's like their thing is SMP, SM performance, like that's their genre.
Okay.
So but I do think in 2013 it kind of set a lot of that generation's K-pop going forward. Sorry, I don't want to sound like I'm being obnoxious and correcting everyone.
2013, I'm still new, so
this is a song that a lot of people came to K-pop with. Like this was one of those songs in that like YouTubers react to K-pop video that came out forever, which was a lot of people's gateway into K-pop.
Oh my God, I forgot about that video.
Right?
It was definitely like a change up for Girls' Generation though, because it was like the first time all the boys like they were doing the sleek, sexy thing, but then this was like fun, kind of like quirky K-pop really coming into like its own. It was like almost, I wouldn't say it's like what Orange Caramel was doing, but this was kind of around when we started seeing like hugely bold colored music videos.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just because it was cheesy. Like it was like, this is like explosion of colors.
I remember watching it the first time and I was like, it's like Hot Topic, Lisa Frank, and Forever 21 blew up.
Yep.
Oh my God, that's exactly what it is.
Because like you got studs and everything on the clothes and the hats from like Hot Topic, and then the tight pants were like very Forever 21, and then the whole set is like a Lisa Frank binder. And
Yes, the colors.
I was just like, I don't know what's going on, but I like it.
Yeah, I remember hearing this and being impressed by the vocals, of course. Like especially Jessica shined on this, and I was impressed by some of the dancing, like in the hard dance break. I was like, get it, girls. I could not get with the genre shifts, and that was kind of the beginning of the end for me in Girls' Generation.
Oh wow!
Wait,
sorry.
So I Got a Boy never grew on you? Oh, wow.
So like now when you say beginning,
I mean, I'll sing along.
when you say beginning of
I'll
the
sing
end,
along,
do you mean
but
like
it's-
as a whole or just for that song?
As a whole.
Wait,
Did you
'cause,
not
they don't
like
really,
Mr. Mister?
right? Like they don't really do.
Oh, Mr. Mister was pretty good, but that wasn't like that.
I mean, like
Okay.
I Got a Boy is very like it is what it is because it is what it is. That's not going to make any sense. But like walk with me on this one. As somebody who like got into Girls' Generation later and went back through all of their music, I Got a Boy is not like any of their other songs. So like you could have like Lionheart is my personal favorite, and there's nothing like I Got a Boy on Lionheart. Well, and what was the really big Japanese release? Because Karma Butterfly is my favorite.
Mr. Taxi.
Taxi.
I think so. Or like the album. No, Love and Girls.
Love and
Or
Girls,
in
yeah.
Peace. Yeah, Love and Girls.
Love and Girls
my,
is the song and the album is Girls in Peace.
Okay, so Karma Butterfly is my favorite Girls' Generation song, period, right? But like Lionheart and any of their subsequent releases don't have that kind of genre. They kind of stay in their lane on all of most of their other albums and songs. So, I mean, I understand because I also don't like genre shifts, but I Got a Boy is very notable because it's kind of like the only one where they do it that way. Now, Tamar could correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I think like
It is absolutely
they
notable.
do it in other stuff like to a lesser degree. Like I think Catch Me If You Can does it with like dubstep. It's like not as intense, but like you have the tonal shifts. But I think people always compare it to Bohemian Rhapsody because of like the tonal shifts. But I think it's actually more comparable to Bohemian Rhapsody because both Queen and Girls' Generation have a definitive sound that's one song that they're really known for isn't necessarily stereotype. Like it's not the epitome of what their musical sound is, but they're always good. And it kind of makes sense as a one-off, but it's like a random, weird, crazy artistic one-off. And it's just so cool that it worked. I could not imagine. I mean, I remember the first time I heard it, I was like, this is weird. And now I'm like, this is the best song ever. So it did its magic.
I'm happy for y'all.
One day it'll happen for you, Stephanie, like on your deathbed. It'll be like, I got
that'll be my last word.
Like it's the funny thing is how Stephanie feels about I Got a Boy is how I feel about the songs that everybody else loves, like Bang Bang Bang,
Wait a minute.
Rhythm Tie. Like that type of sound. In,
I'm with you.
For guys in K-pop, like that's become the guy sound for boy groups.
The guy sound.
And that's a lot of the reason why the fourth gen has just not worked for me because they're basically the kids and grandkids of Bang 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 and Rhythm Tie. And I'm just like, can't do it. Sorry.
Yeah, it is played out.
Oh, no, I disagree with that part, but I never got into Rhythm Ta. It was fun when I've seen it, but I still don't get it.
Y'all breaking my heart with that one, Joe.
Hey, look, y'all,
That's
if
fair.
you were in the Slack, you know the fourth gen as far as the boy groups and some of
boy
the
groups.
male groups and some of the female groups. The fourth gen sound is just not for me because they kind of remind me of Bang 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 and Rhythm Ta, and I'm just like, like I've said before, ATs. If ATs just didn't do their sound, it would be perfect for me.
Oh, so you don't like bounce? Bouncy?
Bounce is the closest I've gotten, and it's mostly because of the performance.
The choreo. Okay, now we're getting
Sorry.
off.
Yeah,
2013.
sorry.
So Stephanie, let's
But that's
move
fair.
on to our next song.
Okay, our next one that is notable would be Psy's comeback after Gangnam Style, Gentleman. I think, yeah. Basically, it's here because it also managed to do like a billion views when everyone was like, can he do it again? Can he do it? And he actually put out like Gangnam Style Part 2, and hey, it hit the mark again. It was released in April 2013. It was viral, hit over 100 million views within 4 days of its release. So he kind of cracked the formula, at least of YouTube and K-pop virality. And so we got to talk about it. But I think that's all we need to say.
I do think it was kind of worthwhile, like that people were still interested in him at that point. Like it wasn't just like the virality. Like this is really gonna date myself here, but after like Los Ketchup, like nobody ever thought, okay, what song did they release after that? But like nobody really knew what Aqua was up to after Barbie Girl until now. Like people at the time, and maybe it's because of YouTube, like people were like tuning in to see like what he was doing next. And I kind of think that maybe a lot of that was because media at the time, just from my journalist perspective, was tuned in to Psy, and K-pop was getting like a leg up. Like we started getting stories in media. We started getting like New York Times coverage of the SM Town concert. That was before Psy, but it was a little bit earlier. But like people in Western media had kind of been paying attention, and I feel like YouTube's algorithm at the time and just like global interest and media interest was kind of a big thing that this song showed, was like, oh, the interest is there. And that's kind of where it led to where we are nowadays. But in 2013, I don't think it was that apparent that like that interest would hold.
No, that's really important to get that background newsroom perspective.
Well, from my non-professional perspective, I remember this was performed a lot at high school dances.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Really? Played at high school dances, and then like at talent shows, like everybody was still liking this after Gangnam Style.
All right, Joe, you're up if you'd like to discuss
the fourth notable
next
song that we have lined up here is Bar 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 by Crayon Pop, which was released in June of 2013 and became a viral hit, eventually reaching #1 on the Billboard K-pop Hot 100. And the thing that I remember most was K-pop. By this time, 3 years in, I knew that K-pop videos are interesting, but this video and song, like 3 years in, I already knew kind of what to expect from K-pop. This song pretty much shatters that, and the video as well, because we're in the most random locations and wearing the most random, like their K-pop by this time was becoming, in the early stages of becoming, very stylized. And it's just like, we're on a break from grade school and we're just going to go gallivanting around Korea and abandon theme parks. And like, I really can't explain it. That's the other thing about it. Like, all you need to know is Bar 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 is a notable song for 2013, and go watch the video. Although another thing I do remember from this year, because this was like one of the few times I watched the Mamas, Crayon Pop performs this, but also like global music is also in a weird meme place because Elvis comes out and they all perform What Does the Fox Say?
They did.
Yes. That's so true.
It was a weird time.
It was so weird.
Wow,
Right.
what a time. All the Gen Zers are like, what?
I guess they're too young, but I was going to say, like, my nieces and nephews know that song because all the parents now show it to the kids because, like, it's very
to the
child.
kids.
It's like, instead of, it's
True.
that and Baby Shark. And I'm like, oh my God, they all
Okay.
know what the fox says.
Well, maybe who's the new kids, the alpha generation? They don't know.
No.
But yeah, Gen Z does know. You're right.
I heard someone else humming Grandpa the minute we started doing it, and I was
that was me.
dancing, and I was like, that's the power of this song. Like, we're both already like hearing it and like doing it. We know this song in the stupid helmets.
I can see
Right.
them dancing in their Power Ranger colors and helmets. Just
Oh my gosh.
and no, Tamar, were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say they toured with Gaga.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was
Yeah, they
gonna
did.
say.
We're on the same wavelength.
They did.
Although, like,
toured with Gaga.
considering who Gaga was when she first started out, that makes perfect sense. Because we all thought Gaga was like this weird girl, and we didn't know what she was doing. And I'm like, I think Gaga saw that and loved it because, you know, weird is her thing. Quirky is also her thing. And it worked. I can see it.
I think the only other thing that I'll say about it was you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember like what's also notable about this song was like the fact that the virality of it came from the fact that they were doing like these guerrilla performances outside, like, and a lot of the support for them, especially in Korea, was just like these people that were just watching their performances, especially when they're like outside performing in like negative whatever degrees, but still, you know, still keeping that energy and still being like giving such a great performance. I think it really endeared them to Crayon Pop at the time.
Yeah.
I seem to remember one with like they did something at one of the amusement parks, or was that just the music video itself?
See, now that you say that, I still can't remember if the original video I saw was the actual music video or one of the guerrilla performances, because like there were so many videos that came out.
All right, so that wraps up our notable songs that came out from that year. But we had some debuts that were very important for the year. So, Tamar, can you kick us off? Who's this group that debuted in 2013?
I don't know if anyone's ever heard of them, but in June 2013, this small 7-member group called BTS debuted with their album called Too Cool for School. And you know, they're still somewhere out there, I guess.
Oh,
You
yeah.
think? Yeah. You might have seen them last week on your TV, or rather one of their members.
Right.
Haha.
But yeah, no, this is the biggest debut really from 2013.
Yeah,
is
for
BTS, which I remember at the time. Not, I agree with Eric in our Slack. He mentioned that like he was mostly listening to BAP at the time, and BTS just kind of seemed like an unimpressive version of BAP. And for me, it was the 3 B groups. It was Block B, BAP, and BTS. And
Yep.
BTS
Yeah.
was like the
Yep.
bottom of the 3.
Yes, I have to agree. If I really like teleport my mind back there, like past, like knowing everything I know about BTS
Right.
in the future, if I really go back, I was not really checking for them in 2018, in 2013. Yeah, to be honest, because I was like, oh, BAP already does this. Block B already does this. It's here's another one. Right. I was like, they're cute, but whatever.
It definitely feels in retrospect, having written a book on BTS and maybe being intensely knowing way too much about BTS and loving them for way too many hours of my life. It felt like at the time that like it was very much like in line with like the trend in Korea of like show me the money taking off in hip hop, like having a moment. And I think it only became apparent like over time as like more people like, because there were definitely fans who like were like watching their YouTube videos since day one. But I'm wondering in retrospect if it was a lot of like the fan translators weren't as big of a deal back then for like random groups. So if you didn't know what was going on with like at their company and what each member's background was, especially like the 3 hip hop line, like it wasn't apparent. And then over time, their like narrative came out and we're like, oh, they like, this was like with intent. And like some of them are underground artists and indie artists. But at the time it was like, I just remember when they debuted, nobody in English, like I remember like all K-pop and Soompi, like and all the outlets were like kind of confused about what to call them because they were like the Bangtan Boys. Like I just remember that being a big like issue. Yes.
Bulletproof Boy Scouts. I remember.
Like there was no guidance on like what to call BTS from day one in English. And I just remember that being really funny. And the bus was a big deal in the music video. I don't remember why, but people were like really into that bus. But I do think that, yeah, the Bs, Block B and BAP were already active. And like a lot of people were like, oh.
Being like hard hip hop style, big gold chains, muscly arms.
for however old they were at the time.
Oh, baby.
But we can do push-ups.
Right? And this is the image.
Shout out to One Shot.
This is the image I have of BTS now. Like even still, when I think of BTS, I think of this BTS first.
Wait,
I'll be honest.
Wow.
With all the eyeliner?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. The eyeliner is
So to be fair, they have gotten rid of a lot of their eyeliner over time, and I think they need to bring it back.
Same. I'm looking at you, Jimin.
I'm down.
Come on.
I think that's a very
Jungkook.
2013, 2012 K-pop, like everybody in eyeliner.
Yeah.
Yep. Dark.
Yeah.
And your hair fried to the utmost and then gelled in vertical, horizontal directions.
Yep.
But I do think, I know we're all talking about like their debut, but their comeback was NO was also that year. And I think that was the time more people kind of got what they were doing with like the messaging. And like that was a big thing at that time.
Yeah.
Just in general was like kind of the era when like we started seeing like groups like New East talk about bullying and BTS talk about school. Like this really was a moment when I think like the groups like Block B and BAP to a lesser degree, but like we started seeing groups like with like messaging really come out that wasn't just about love songs. And nowadays to find just a straightforward love song is hard, but back then it was like the opposite. Teeny tiny debut.
I mean,
obviously.
I do like, if there's one thing, like when we talk about BTS and their connection with hip hop, like as somebody who's not into them like the rest of the world is, but as somebody who studies like the history of hip hop and R&B in America and globally, you can see that they really get the concept of using hip hop, or how hip hop is a power for, it can be a force for like, it can be fun to listen to, but at its base, hip hop is a force for political good, rather than going about it through the typical means of like politics. It's more of the voice of the people, no matter where you are in the world, and speaking truth to power over rhythm and with good flow. And like, even though I'm learning Korean still, I will probably never get how things are supposed to sound, but I can feel the intent in the language and the way they put their lyrics together, especially in their, when they're like getting it out the mud in their debut.
Yep. Agree. You couldn't have put it better myself. So when we're looking at these other artists' debuts, let's try and speed through. I mean, I think it's good we give.
So I'll go through. I'll go through my list
in the interest
really
of
quickly.
time.
So also other notable debuts from that year. Obviously, Eric Nam with Heaven's Door. We had Jaejung Royal Pirates, Infinite H, their subunit debut this year. Sunmi made her solo debut with 24 Hours.
And CL, the baddest female, released her solo debut song, which actually had that title. Nah, not yeah.
Not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good, you know?
You know? Iconic.
And then also History and Ladies Code, right, Tamar?
Yes, History and Ladies Code, underrated heroes of 2013 debuts that went to interesting places eventually for sad reasons.
Yeah.
Different sad reasons, but Ladies Code obviously had the tragedy, but then their music had always been good, and then it took a very cool direction afterwards. And History was my rookie group. I was rooting so hard for them. They were like, dude, their debut with Dreamer was like hitting my Broadway feels so hard, you guys. It was like show tunes and big sound. Like they were from IU's company, and there was a lot of like potential there that they kind of never went anywhere, but they had a few very interesting comebacks. They had some really cool comebacks later on also. But I think that like at the end of the day, History's biggest addition, aside from being my little rookies, was that one of the members is now a very prominent producer who like works with BTS and HYBE quite prominently, who is Jung Yi-jung. He was also known for Friday with IU, and now he's known as El Capitan, and he's just a big producer. And I just think like this little note of history,
Yeah.
I did a drum set.
Yeah, see, that's why we do these rewind episodes. Like that's such a perfect gem that like I'm sure that a lot of K-pop fans today have no idea the history, right, of that producer, where they came from, or never heard of History and Ladies Code. So it's just, we're doing God's work here, going back in time. So just to go through some more like notable mentioned songs. Oh gosh, there were so many fun, catchy songs that are still in my personal playlist. A few of which are J Park's Choa, Taeyang, Ringa Linga, Teen Top Rocking with that crazy footwork.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, Vix with Hyde, Block B, very good, very, very good. I can't like not sing it. Yeah, I already gave a shout out to BAP One Shot with the push-ups and like the riveting storyline. Shinhwa, like iconic group, came back with their 11th album, The Classic, and the single was This Love. I think that's it. Does anyone want to like pick out any others from the list to make sure we mention them here?
FX Rum Pum Pum Pum, which iconic song, but that also gave us the interesting collaboration between Funny or Die and Anna Kendrick and FX.
I forgot about that.
Which was being
What?
a Funny or Die.
Have you never seen that?
I vaguely remember. It's like I'm dusting it off in my
the
brain.
YouTube channel Funny or Die, they had a skit with Anna Kendrick and FX where
my God, yes.
I believe
It's
she's
coming
like
back to me.
trying to be the next member of FX or something like that.
Yeah, it's
right?
like they give her a
she's trying to
crash
be.
course in idol training.
And she does the cup song.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
It was a very
her shtick.
Pitch Perfect meets K-pop.
Let's see. Yeah, just as fast as we can. Call out our
Troublemaker,
favorites.
I think, is the other one. Their song Now being their a big song,
Their
and also
comeback.
the last one they did, because it was very clear that they broke up after this song.
Yeah.
Yeah. A-Pink had their big break with No No No.
Yeah.
2NE1, Falling in Love. Very good islandy, fun song.
The single before Crush the next year.
The Crush album. Yeah.
Infinite had their Destiny failure of a music video release, which was very sad for everybody. The most expensive music video of all time never came out in K-pop officially.
Oh, wow.
Or the most expensive K-pop video of all time, not necessarily. They filmed it, and then there was a plane in it, and there was a tragedy with a plane accident that year, so they never officially released.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why we have the version B
version.
that exists. Okay.
Yeah. Version A was later released, but unofficially, I think like it's not even on their channels or anything. But like it was at the time was like this music video costs a lot of money. Like I think it was like more than $1 million for one music video was unheard of back then for K-pop.
Gosh.
I think now even you wouldn't have that typically.
Yeah.
And it would,
Yeah, but back
and
then
they couldn't release it.
Right.
It was drama.
Dang, down
Poor
the drain.
Willem. But
Yeah, we're always crying over
and
Wooden.
Infinite.
All right, that about wraps it up for the debuts that happened in 2013 and the notable songs. Now we're moving on to one of my favorite parts of the Rewind, which is all of us sharing our personal favorite songs from the year 2013. So these songs may not have had the most impact or longest legacy, but this section allows us to spotlight those tracks that give us like that special nostalgic feeling before we debate the best iconic songs. So I guess I could
kick us off, Stephanie, since
I have a few. All right, so no one is stopping me from listing albums, you know, so I'm just going to jump in with, because I couldn't decide. I'm just going to be honest. I could not decide a single song from Lee High's First Love debut album. It is a no skip. It's heartfelt R&B. These songs make me cry. You know, for example, Pablo, Because, Special featuring Jenny Kim. These are just gold that still remains on my playlist as having just that soul that not everybody can achieve.
Yeah.
And along those, yeah, go ahead if you wanted to
I think
comment.
I had to go back and learn about her because I saw a video in 2013. I believe she performed at the Seoul Jazz Festival, and she performed a cover of I Like It by DeBarge. It's either DeBarge or Switch. I can't remember the two. And
Yeah, DeBarge.
and the way she sang that breakdown, I was like, okay, first of all, young lady, you were too young to be.
First
right,
of all,
she's
young lady.
so young. Here.
She's so young, but she was just
now.
like, I like the stylish clothes you wear. I like the way you wear your hair. It's just the little things you do. And she sang it with such a conviction. I was like, okay, little mama, now, first of all,
Right?
you singing this like you've been with your man for about 25 years and you've been through a lot of heartache and brown liquor, but you
Right.
staying because you like him. And like I had to get back. I had to get into her
telling you.
discography at that point. And you're right. It's a soulful album. It's very, I feel like good R&B feels like getting into your bed with the warm comforter at night.
Ooh.
And it wraps around you. That's how this album feels to me when I listen to it.
Love that.
Yes, yes. Such an old soul she is. She got started so young, and it's been great to see her rise. But this was her debut album, everybody. Another album that maybe some of us K-pop Cats listeners might not have heard of. I really wanted to highlight it here. A hip hop group called Untouchable put out their Trip mini album. And I just really encourage everybody to listen to the first few seconds, the intro to the song Trip, the title track, to hear just what I'm talking about. Soulful, lush samples of, classic soul and R&B and jazz with the rap on top, reggae style. It's just like, wow, these guys did their homework on Black music and just really appreciate it. And I could just listen to that album, all those tracks actually, all day. So shout out to Untouchable.
I was just looking to see what they were up to, and I knew that like
Okay,
they
Sleepy,
hadn't been
welcome
active.
back.
But Sleepy just released a song like 5 days ago.
That's dope.
I have to go and check it out.
Yeah, I missed them. Yeah. I think you would like it, Joe. Yeah. And then finally, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Taeyang from Big Bang, who came out with Ringa Linga, Ringa Linga Ling. Okay. And the song itself is pretty fun, pretty catchy, but I just remember when this video came out, it was big, especially for those of us who appreciate hip hop dance. It was, I think that the music video itself, or the first one that came out, was the dance performance choreography video. Similar to Growl, it was made to look like it's filmed in one take. It was Taeyang with a bunch of dancers in the back, and you can clearly see like Black people in the forefront of his team, which like meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
Right. And just the artistry, the skill, the athleticism of this routine stuck out to me. And I think, really, really set the bar going forward for this style, like aggressive, masculine hip hop choreography. I think the video was all in black and white too. That just like added to the hardness.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think
well done.
Like, this is one of those things where like cultures collide, because when I first saw the title of the song, I don't know if anybody else who is a fan of the K-pop cast is a fan of the Martin TV show, but like Ring-a-Linga, and my mind is already going back to Shanae. Ring-a-ling-a-ling. Like, and the funny thing is the chorus sounds like how Shanae says it. Like, you can't hear the bell.
That's true.
And like, that always tickles me to no end.
Yo. Yep. When cultures collide. There you go. Beautiful. That's all for me. That's what I'm wrapping up in at night when I think about 2013. Tamar, I'm going to hand it off to you.
I am terrible at picking songs, especially from 2013. So I kind of like narrowed categories. And my first one was the quirky kind of music videos and like fun songs, which I think I Got a Boy kind of falls into, but it was like B1A4, What's Happening, 4 Minutes, What's Your Name, and Tiara, and 4's Jeonwon Ilgi. Jeonwon Diary, I think the translation is. I don't think they translated Jeonwon. These were like songs that were kind of just like upbeat and fun and kind of weird, and they were huge hits in Korea. So maybe it's because I was in Korea when they were out, and so like I just heard them everywhere and they got into my brain, but like they're also amazing and I love them a lot. So like when I want to feel happy, I still go and listen to these. Like I sing B1A4's What's Happening at karaoke. I'm terrible at it, but it's like just upbeat and exciting and really ridiculous, and there's something in the music videos with weird dummies, and I just think it's fun. And I think that it was definitely like there was a moment. This was like a moment of like fun creativity that like we still kind of harken back to that Orange Caramel like really owned in a way that like would come a few years later. But like in 2013, we were like really feeling like K-pop was kind of getting like into its feels about production in a way that wasn't like super serious ballads where like people are gonna die like in Haru Haru, or like silly dance music videos, or like cheesy cute little girls being, I don't know, cute schoolgirls or like models at a store turning from dolls into humans. But like we had like concepts like Vicks, like that was around the era when like they really became known for their concepts, having music videos for like Hide and Voodoo Doll that were like creepy but also intensely good music, and like the music videos I think really came into their own. They were already good at this point, but like I think like there was a little bit more creative fun happening starting around now. And then I just want to give some shout outs to everyone is growing up with like Girls' Days, Expectations album. We got like their Suspenders and Expectation. And I just really like that album. And Kara, to Damaged Lady, 2PM's Grown album. Like these are all just like great eras. Like I think Girls' Day, if we talk about, like people don't really remember them outside of like people who were around then. But obviously now, because Kara had their comeback, people are like talking about them again. And I think just like grown, like, oh, these were just such iconic moments that like were happening. Like you couldn't like where K-pop dance for girls, I think got to now. I wouldn't say it's all at Girls' Days' feet, but I think that like the choreographies that they played with, like even the stuff that like we're not talking about, like Ring My Bell and like their earlier stuff, they just did a lot for girl groups, and I really love them. But
to put
I think
a pin in Girls' Days,
expectation with the suspenders.
We get Expectations in 2013.
Time.
We also get Female President in 2013. And if you thought that they came out and took the year, wait until 2014, because looking at 2014 in hindsight and what Girls' Day did, baby, listen. Cause don't you look in my eyes. Don't you dare look in my eyes and lie again. Cause I'm sick of being alone. Now drop it.
I'm so bad girl. I'm so cool girl. I'm so sexy, sexy, sexy girl. I'm so bad girl. I'm so cool girl. I'm so sexy, sexy, sexy girl. Yeah. I'm so bad girl. I'm so cool girl. I'm so sexy, sexy, sexy girl. Yeah. I'm so bad girl. I'm so cool girl. I'm so sexy, sexy, sexy girl. Yeah.
First, I have It's Me by Kahi, who had recently graduated from After School, which is like my first love girl group in K-pop. She was the former leader, but she was out on her own. And It's Me is this very sleek Europop, high fashion, like also shot in black and white, but it's like a high fashion, like slightly voguing, but not. It's more pose. The choreography that she's known for, which is like powerful, it's very high fashion, hitting angles and looking at clean lines, which her being the queen of the S line makes total sense, right? But the thing that is notable for me is this song and a few of the other songs that I am listing are the final bow for the women, the first ladies of Pledis. So It's Me actually is a lot more heartfelt when I got into the history of it. So it's the first and last song produced by Alice Skye, which was the producer tag for the K-pop singer Radiful Sky. So she writes and produces the song for Kahi. They're friends. They met in Bible study. It's Me, the mini album releases on October 10th. Unfortunately, Hanul goes into earlier in 2013, she's diagnosed with a brain tumor and goes into a coma in September of that year and passes away on the 8th of October.
Wow.
And so I remember looking at Kahi trying to promote, but also the paparazzi pictures of her and a few other K-pop celebrities going to the funeral that same week. And I'm just like, good night. I can't even fathom having to go to your homegirl's funeral and be on Music Core during that same time period. So there's that. And this is also her final release with Pledis, because she leaves Pledis in 2015, I believe, after her contract runs out. The next song that I have is Sondambi's Red Candle, which is actually her last song as a K-pop artist. And the notable thing for this song is she doesn't dance in the video. The song itself is very understated. It's a Brazilian jazz type song, which shout out to the forever great pen and musical arranging styles of Jonghyun, because sir, I need you to know wherever you are, you did that. Considering who Sondambi was and all of her tracks, this is like the most unlike her. And actually, shout out to Tamar. One of your writers has did a write-up on Sondambi. It's called The Vulgar, what is it? Hold on a second. Yes, The Vulgar Aesthetic of Sondambi.
I remember editing that.
And he talks about
It was
how
Joe Palmer.
over the course of Sondambi's career, a lot of her videos, which I didn't think at the time because I was such a stan, but compared to the rest of K-pop, her videos and her music kind of comes off as cheap looking or cheap sounding.
Mm-hmm.
And then he talks about like the poetic ending of Red Candle, how it's kind of resigned and laid back, and it's like the candle goes out on a career, which, mind you, if you talk to him, let him know that when he wrote that, I was in tears because Sondambi was like the first K-pop solo act that I was like really into. I think one of my good friends, Steven, is the reason, Sondambi is the reason why we met, because I was in the Sondambi tag on Tumblr and he wrote something about how Sondambi is one of his favorite artists, and that's how we connected. So also kind of realizing that we've been friends for almost 10 years. So that's wild too. But yeah. And then finally, but next I have After School's First Love, which is After School's final Korean release. They do one more Japanese release after First Love, but it was critically acclaimed and slightly scandal ridden because the initial press releases were that it was going to be a Las Vegas type choreography. Come to find out, it's pole dancing. So as an American, you're just like, okay, that's cool. A girl group on the pole. Think nothing of it. For K-pop, however, because like in the video, they have like tattoos and it's like go-go dancer. So it's like, it's very tame, but it very much follows what After School is, which is concept. We previously had the drumline concept. This is the pole dancing concept, and they usually are known for giving their all with the concept. So much so that I believe Lizzie tears a ligament in her ankle.
Right.
And Nana falls off stage after a performance, and they have to continue promoting at 6. But the song itself is so... I wish I could describe it, but it's everything that I love about After School, but it's tame. Like, tame compared to Flashback, which Flashback was a monster. I don't know how you make a pole dance, which is in itself can be like an aggressive type of dancing. Mm-hmm. It's very soft and sensual and seductive. And we're talking about our first loves, and I don't know how it works, but it just does.
Only in K-pop, right?
I do think it made like the concept of pole dancing in Korea change. Like I think that like at first people were very reactive to it, but then over time it was like, oh, it's a dance style, it's an art form in its own. Like nowadays, like pole dancing is such an accepted like exercise, but I feel like in Korea, after the initial backlash, like we started seeing, who was it? Someone was eating potato chips on like one of the polls, like it went like viral. Like one of the, was it guys?
Yeah.
Like somebody was like, she was just up there and just like snacking. And like, I just remember that clip going around and like, must've been a GIF back then, but like it like softened, like you said, like the song was soft, but like the art of pole dancing like came out. And I remember like there was like, I don't know if it was like so reactionary to it, like, oh, now everybody has to start pole dancing for exercise and artistic reasons. But like I do remember like the response to it was way less intense than I thought it potentially might be. And it was a little bit more positive, like, oh, look at these girls like doing this artistic dance thing with, we can stop thinking of it being stigmatized.
Real example
and like,
of someone paving the way.
Fast forward
Vegas.
to 2020, and you've got contestants on Mr. Trot pole dancing.
Right.
Oh, of course. Who was it? Wasn't Twice members or
God.
Momo
Yeah.
on the pole? Yeah.
Yeah, Solar, sorry.
yeah. And Mamamoo has done it. Like Solar has done it a lot.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think
that
like yeah,
the three, those
they-
are like
after
the
school.
big three of Pledis's early history, and they all in 2013 take their final bows in K-pop,
Yeah.
which I didn't realize until I was going back and looking. And then finally, I have Gun by Nine Muses, because to me, this is my personal favorite Nine Muses song. And I think this is their best song of 2013. I think it's when Star Empire, hold on, hold your fire, Tamar, hold your fire. I think this is when Sweet Tune and Nine Muses begin to hit their stride. I don't necessarily know, because like we have Glue, we have Wild, and we have Gun. Gun is first place, Glue is second place, and Wild is third place. I love all three of them, but Gun, for whatever reason, has me in a chokehold, and it won't let go, because it's so like the Western vibe meets like a sort of 1960s Nancy Sinatra sassy type sound. The vocals, Aaron's rap, it's it's so good. Now I will open myself to critique.
Oh no.
Oh no, I do think like Gun is my maybe my favorite Nine Muses like fun one. But you said that earlier before we were talking. You said like this was like their first song where you felt like they really landed it. But Wild came out before Gun, and I love Wild. So I
Yeah.
think they're both excellent. I think that they had a lot of good stuff.
Oh no! I
But
know.
I do love Gun. I
like
want to put that
Wild.
out there.
I like
I'm
Wild
not
too,
fighting with you. I'm just
and
kind
I
of
love
like
Glue, but for some reason, as much as I like those, Gun just does something musically. And that's the other thing. I think Prima Donna is the album that this is on. And that album is one of my favorite albums from that year as well. I like, its music changes from person to person. I'm trying to explain the best I can, and I think I'm failing. Just go and listen to it and watch the video and watch the performances, and hopefully you'll meet me on the same point.
Right. And then
Hey, Michaela.
yeah, just
go ahead.
quickly wrapping up our favorite playlist. So I've got three picks. Number one, of course, having to be Shiny's Everybody. Like the complextro dubstep masterpiece of the era of 2013.
Wah, wah.
Again, just
had to.
I could probably put the whole album on here, but just Everybody is just one of those songs that has never left a playlist. And like I think back to that year that they win Artist of the Year at the Melon Music Awards for Everybody, and you just them just bawling on stage, and then all the EXO boys come and join them. It's just such a important moment in Shiny history that you just have to talk about it for 2013. And then Symptoms too. Like
Can I
so
give
many
a
songs.
Shout
so
out
many
to
songs.
Symptoms on that, because that's like their
but
best B
As far as like smaller groups that are smaller artists that maybe people haven't heard of, MFBTY debuts this year actually with Sweet Dream. And for me, again, this is my year doing my deep dive into K-pop. I discover Tasha through this, Yoonmi Ray.
What?
Yeah, this
Discover.
I hadn't really listened to her or Tiger JK or Busy. So for me, this was like a really big intro to the history that they have in being, OGs in Korean hip hop and R&B, and being one just like so surprised by the music video because it's this very futuristic, bombastic, like tiger like robot tiger attacks them, and like there's so much going on in the music video. And then also Tiger JK's flow as a rapper was so shocking to me in the beginning, because compared to like the rap that I was used to hearing, especially in K-pop, it's like not comparable.
No,
It's another level. Yeah, it's a completely different art form what he's doing.
So have to shout out MFBTY for this year. And then the last year is just top dog, TOPP, DOWG. Like they were my kind of, I guess, rookie for that year that I wish, had done better with their debut for Follow Me. But, they'll always have a place in my heart. And that's it.
Ooh, awesome.
Wow.
Thanks for highlighting those. Yeah, it's just, it still trips me out how our mindsets, our perspectives were so different back in 2013 compared to now. So that is it for our personal favorites. Now, drum roll. The moment we've all been waiting for. We're going to discuss which 2013 song forever changed the world of K-pop. Only one song will survive. Maybe. We'll see. Everybody, choose your fighter. Are you rolling your eyes?
You guys should see my expression right now. My mouth is like, oh God.
Yeah.
No, my mouth is like
We have
clenched
not
together
planned
as I'm like,
this,
oh no, how do we decide?
We can see the nominees here, but we don't know where this conversation is going to go.
Can I throw one that we didn't mention?
Sure.
I mean, we may mention in passing, but Tiara number 9 like brought a certain dance, like style of dance. Whatever. We don't need to do that. Never mind. I'm not bringing this in. Like we're not doing this.
All right, the doors are closed. We're at capacity. Yes. All right. So the first nominee is going to be from Joe.
All right. So my nominee for the number one song of 2013 in K-pop is Bounce from Cho Young-pil.
어쩌면 우린 벌써 알고 있어 그토록 찾아 헤맨 사랑의 꿈 외롭게만 하는 걸 You make me You make me bounce Bounce, bounce 망설여져 나 혼자만의 감정일까 내가 잘못 생각한 거라면 어떡하니 눈물이 나
Now, if you're like me and you are watching your music shows and you see this older guy and I'm just like with a guitar and a band and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Who is this Korean man who looks like Ray Charles and Roy Orbison? Which is actually funny that I made that comparison because of the impact this man has. So Bounce comes out in June or late April in South Korea. And according to, because there's not a lot of Western facing information at this point in K-pop, from what the Recording Association of Korea says, he goes number one on all local charts. On international charts, he knocks Psy out of the number one slot on the Hot K-pop Hot 100 chart in Billboard. And they also credit him with like restarting the physical sale in South Korea, which they noted had been in a stagnation or steady decline since 2009, which was Sotaeji's, what we thought was his last album. And so Cho Young-pil is a legend in Korean music, full stop, not even just Korean pop music. He has a 50-year career. And to be honest, if you know his music, like if I go to my parents' friends, Pastor Junwan and Pastor Andrew Kim, and I say, do y'all know who Cho Young-pil is? They're probably going to give me the Korean uncle version of, boy, what you know about Cho Young-pil? He's like, he's ingrained into Korean music and culture. And the song itself, it's very light and breezy. It's more along the lines of a Sheryl Crow type or Train singer-songwriter type song. And if you know his work, it's nowhere near his best. Like, even if we talk about the last 20, 15 years, like, Bounce ain't touching Dream. But it's a very big moment because it's South Korea giving one of their legends his flowers. Well deserved. I think, there was we talked about Psy earlier, and there's a write-up in the Korea Times where the author talks about, the Korean public. If a one-size-all formula for global music success does exist, it's probably sex, and Psy has that covered. After all the aggressive thrusting, invisible horse riding in Gangnam Style, horse is used as a derogatory term for women in Korea, which is also funny for other reasons to me. The ever-decorous rapper is taking things further in his new song, Gentleman. The new video includes a part where Gayen, a singer from the sexy girl group Brown Eyed Girls, lustily licks a fish stick drizzled in with mayonnaise. Oh. And then at the end of his, at the end of the article, he says, if Psy's music is for the crotch, Cho's is for the ears. No wonder Koreans are grateful for the old man.
Yo.
What a great line.
And like earlier on in the article, he talks about how South Korea is tired of the highly stylized boy groups and girl groups that K-pop had been putting out, like Girls' Generation and Super Junior. I was like, okay, first of all, I mean, I get it, but damn. It's because it's very much like a boomer type article. It's just like, y'all don't know what real music is. Cho Young Pil is that dude. And like, I get it, but like, you're a journalist, sir. Like, we do have, now I don't know how journalism runs in Korea, but I know like this reads more as an editorial than a journalism piece. But, aside, all that aside, Cho Young Pil's Bounce is one of the times where you first notice how Korean fans react to pop music from their country versus how international fans, because there was also some interesting things that went on with music shows where Cho Young Pil, I think, won, but he didn't have any votes because they were strictly sales, not necessarily, like, nobody was talking about him on social media. And people were trying to figure out what's going on here. But, it was more the love of the people like that put him in that spot. So that is why this is my choice for number one.
The people's choice.
Yes.
All right. That's a good first nominee. I'll allow it. Tamar, who do you got?
My pick is, I think I mentioned this earlier, and if you ever read what I write, I Got a Boy by Girls' Generation. I just think it's a really great song.
Hey, you stop. Let me put it down another way. I got a boy 멋진, I got a boy 착한, I got a boy handsome boy 내 맘 다 가져간. I got a boy 멋진, I got a boy 착한, I got a boy awesome boy 완전 반했나 봐. 내 왕자님 언제 이 몸을 과로봐 주실 텐가요? 하얀 꿈처럼 내 품에 안아 올려 날아가 주시겠죠?
I may have at one point had a Wi-Fi network that used AO 5GG as part of it. Hey, if you will give me AO 5G worked really well. I think that I don't think it necessarily like remade Girls' Generation, but it definitely breathed new life into their career at a time when like girl groups don't always last forever. I mean, I think like their career has proved, gone through ups and downs. But I think that like they had released The Boys previously after like tons and tons of hits that like catered specifically to like the stereotypical Korean audience, which like we kind of saw this happen with Twice also, where you had like really kind of cutesy pops, like girl group bubblegum sounding songs with a lot of like repeated hooks and everything. And then they released The Boys, which was a total change up. And then I Got a Boy, I feel like kind of brought it all together in a way that really felt like them maturing, and also kind of the K-pop industry maturing. Like it was like, even if Girls' Generation never really went back to I Got a Boy entirely stylistically ever again, it felt like kind of a big shift for the industry of like giving nowadays, especially like, I wouldn't say necessarily that their dancing and I Got a Boy was like what we have now remotely, but like girl groups typically never did like choreo and dance breaks. And I don't remember if they were the first group to have like specifically a dance break like that, but like we started seeing a shift away from like these kind of more hooky songs. And I kind of wonder if maybe it's because 2013 is when we really started seeing streaming start to become more of a thing. I'd have to like look at when when streaming platforms explicitly launched, but like obviously music, the way like now songs are short is because of listening habits. So I'm like wondering if like maybe habits of like users on YouTube, or because obviously this was a huge hit on YouTube, but like people were trying to be engaged more in a song and the music video. But I just think that like it really set the groundwork for where we kind of are nowadays with a lot of music videos and songs in K-pop kind of having this. K-pop's always had a connection between the audio and visual elements, but I feel like this song really, really honed in on it in a way that like was surprising. It was really like I felt at the time, after you got over the what did I just listen to, and kind of like are most of these members wearing, and what are their hair colors, like I feel like that kind of surprise factor became a big element of what a lot of people were curious about K-pop at the time. And I think Gangnam Style obviously did this in a very intense way, but like that kind of what is this good thing that I'm looking at became a big factor of K-pop for that era, and obviously still continue to some degree, but I feel like I Got a Boy did that. So that's my suggestion. Well
said. I don't know. You drive a hard bargain there.
Right.
I definitely agree that I'm getting this visual of Girls' Generation just like, I don't know, carving out a new edge, pushing the boundary, literally, like pushing the fence out,
But I think your pick also maybe does that a little bit in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe a slightly different direction, but similar impact. So my pick is CL, the baddest female. Nah, nothing beats babe.
Where all my bad girls at? Where all my bad girls at? On me,
like we were just talking about, I think this is a song that pushed the boundaries of what is K-pop, pushed the boundaries of especially how a female artist can present herself on stage in her music videos, and just like that carved out a new lane, I think, for what girl crush can mean and can look like. If you look at her early performances of this song, she is, I'll just say it right away. She is totally committing all of the cultural appropriation faux pas. We got grills, we got thick gold chains, we got, baseball jerseys buttoned at the top and open in the bottom, chola fashion and caps and sunglasses on stage. But you know what? it is the whole package, and she is like going 10 toes deep with it. And she is executing it like flawlessly. She comes from the West, right? And just brings that confidence, that next level of knowledge about how to execute the culture, the style, that just shows everybody else how it's done, how it could be done. Her rap flow is really entertaining. She just has so many iconic phrases in the song that we were, I think Joe and I and everybody was shouting them out, not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good. Okay. And do the ania, hey, right. All of that stuff are lines that we are still singing to this day. And I would even go so far as to say, there's nobody who has executed like CL in her lane, like to the level that she has since that. I mean, I'm open to hearing if anybody has suggestions of anybody who's doing that style, like same or better. But I mean, maybe like Jessie is in the conversation, right? But Jessie released Sen Ani like a couple years after this. Right, she's older, but still. I really just want to give CL her flowers, like looking ahead into the future and like the artist, the icon she has become. It all started here. It all started with the springboard of 2NE1. And this year for 2NE1, yes, they did Falling in Love, but their sound was kind of more easy, more coasting, like easy, fun, breezy summer song. But CL broke out with the aggressive girl crush, keeping that part of 2NE1 alive into the future. So it's one of my favorites to this day. I think our last nominee has some similarities with Miss CL.
Right. So we're wrapping up my nomination of the number one song of 2013, guys, is another solo artist from YG. Of course, it's G-Dragon, guys.
영원한 건 절대 없어 결국엔 넌 변했지 이유도 없어 진심이 없어 사랑 같은 소리 따윈 집어쳐 오늘 밤은 삐딱하게 내버려둬 어차피 난 혼자였지 아무도 없어 달림이 없어 사탕 발린 위로 따윈 집어쳐 오늘 밤은 삐딱하게
2013 was his year. Like, there was no, I mean, yes, CL did her thing, but when it comes to like solo artists that were really topping the charts and making a name for themselves in 2013, it's like you can only think of G-Dragon. And the song Crooked specifically, well, again, Coup d'etat was like a massive album and there are so many singles that you could put in this place. But for me, Crooked is just such one as a song, it's such a template, I think, especially for just this angsty rock synthy sound that one was kind of had elements that we were hearing in K-pop, but also he like makes it his own. And again, with the full concept of the video, really genuinely conveying these emotions that are it's shot all in the UK and you just see him going around. It's very chaotic and emotional, and it's something that feels so genuine, where in this era of K-pop, you have these super colorful concepts. It was so refreshing to see something that was so that you can connect with so emotionally, and it felt so personal for G-Dragon. And for me, it's one of those songs that I feel like is what if I want to introduce G-Dragon to people, I show them Crooked first, because I feel like it's where you can see him the most clearly as an artist, as a person, as a performer, as the icon that he is. Okay,
That was beautiful.
Giving us a lot to consider here. Yeah. Wow. I do remember seeing that video and connecting with it on an emotional level.
Like especially just because again it's it's juxtaposition of these hype party scenes where he just going crazy and his hair is white and it's wild, and then there are just these slow moments where he's just like crying in a toilet. Like it's something that I feel like those songs where like, yeah, you can get hyped to it, but then you can also cry in your pillow to it.
And we know Michaela loves a good cry in your
I
pillow.
love a duality.
That's so funny. It seems like all of us picked songs that like represent ourselves.
Yeah.
A part of ourselves in a way.
Stephanie's psychoanalyzing us as we're all just chilling here, picking songs that we love.
I'm right. How do we decide between them? What are our criteria? Like I definitely like pushing the boundary, moving the K-pop sound forward. So something that's future looking, that influenced other artists into the future, influence other songs. Staying power of the song itself.
I think
This is tough.
I think for my song, I think the legacy for Cho Young Pil, the history's kind of already been written. That's the other thing. This is basically like this song is kind of like a victory lap. I also think in terms of K-pop, like how many times a song is covered on variety shows or other music shows, that might play a part because this song on somebody every year sings this on King of Masked Singers. Which like is a choice because, as I said earlier, out of all the songs that Cho Young Pil has written and the Korean people love, that's the song. But I digress. Also, I forgot, like earlier this year, a group called Phantom drops a song, a hip hop group drops a song that called Like Cho Young Pil, which is actually really good.
Yes.
But in terms of like the K-pop that we know and love, I think this is like what defines K-pop for Korea in 2013. Not necessarily K-pop from the Western perspective that we all look at it as.
That's a great point.
So like Korea will probably put this as number one. But at the same time, I also there's a part of me that really wants to put I Got a Boy as number one.
Yeah.
I agree with you in all of that. I think that Bounce is, for this generation, like for the modern era of K-pop, like Cho Young Pil precedes K-pop, even of like the earliest idol groups. Like he was already, he's the idol that all the K-pop stars were already looking up to. So I think like Bounce is an amazing song. I love that song a lot, to clarify. But I think that like if we're talking about specifically K-pop, I wouldn't necessarily put it in the same category. And I don't necessarily think it impacted just Korean music generally. Like actually, like maybe a few years later, like with Trot's rise and like the return to bands kind of music getting, but I don't think that Bounce necessarily was like a there wasn't a straight line to where like music scene went. But I think I Got a Boy and Baddest Female, I think, do. Crooked, I'd argue that both Crooked and Bounce are kind of like the artistic individual like moments, whereas Baddest Female and I Got a Boy, of course, are very integral to both of those artists' careers, like both of those acts, but like they also represent a bigger thing for the industry and like where things went for like women in the industries particularly. So I'd argue that it's between those two in my mind.
Right.
Sorry.
I would agree with you.
Sorry, boys.
Right.
Sorry, boys. We love you, boys. No boys allowed. Yeah. Gosh. Yeah. How do you compare these two? It just occurred to me that if we were really recording this episode back in 2013, if we were doing like the end of year episode, then yeah, maybe something that was number one in Korea like that could have had more of a chance. But now that we are 10 years out, we have the luxury of hindsight and seeing what stayed relevant, what impacted future sounds and groups, and we should take that into account.
We didn't mention it, but I'd argue if we were looking at it, it'd be like the three to pick between would be like Growl, I Got a Boy, and Baddest Female.
Right.
Growl, yeah.
Bring it in there.
Yeah. All right. I am starting to waver now in the face of I Got a Boy. Just in real time, because I'm looking at just CL's career in general and her performances in 21, like leading up to this, and it's all included in a way that like this debut is not like as iconic and special, like on its own, standing on its own. Like you have to have it connected to like her performances in 21 and a couple of the songs she came out with later. Like it's just a whole thing. So in terms of a single song, I'm now leaning towards I Got a Boy as being just like on its own, standing on its own, pushing the boundaries. Having this major impact, and it is important and kind of funny that Girls' Generation didn't really go back to that style afterward. It was like, oh, we went a little too far, maybe. Now we're reining it back in. But it was really important for that reason, how far it went. So I don't know. Other people's thoughts?
I am also on the side of I Got a Boy versus the Baddest Female. I think if we're also looking at it from like I don't know what is popular in the West versus what is popular in Korea, I think of the fact that CL was one of the few artists that were chosen to perform at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's one of the few artists that Korea chose to represent them. And she performed the Baddest Female, I believe.
Yeah, which was a big
Yeah.
deal. Like people were like, she's essentially cursing at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in that sense, this idea of CL and especially this song being such an iconic song for that time, but also an iconic moment for women in Korean music.
Yeah, dang. Yeah, I had forgotten about the Olympics performance. But that wasn't in 2013. Yeah.
When does Hello Bitches come out? Because I feel like
Hey now. Wasn't that
2015?
was that
It was
2012?
2015. Yeah.
Oh, 2015.
Yeah,
yeah,
that
and
was
she
way
performs-
after.
She also performs that at the Olympics now.
Yeah.
Hey, yep.
Because of the, like, not only CL's work as a rapper or a rapstress, but that plus Paris Gobel's otherworldly choreography. I think if Hello Bitches came out in 2013, that number spot would go to Chaylin, no contest, right? But in terms of, like, do you know how many times I go, let me put it down another way when I'm trying to work my way around the situation? That alone kind of solidifies, like, apologies to Uncle Cho, but the young ladies from SM have it.
Yeah, they killed it. I don't even like the song that much, but I gotta hand it to them.
I still think this is like the funniest thing that came out of this whole conversation is that good for you though. Like there are songs that I think all of us have that
I'm
we
fair.
don't see eye to eye. You are fair.
I'm fair and just. Let it be known.
You're a queen,
Okay,
queen
so
among mortals.
I hereby dub. Yeah. Right. See, this is the kind of conversation that's only possible on the K-pop
Right.
cast. We're not fighting to the death over our personal favorites.
I mean, we can.
Although that could be fun. I mean, yeah, we could. I think Peter would love that. He's like, it's great for the ratings. But yeah, I think congratulations to Sonia Shide.
And I Got a
Girls'
Boy.
Generation. I Got a Boy. The most iconic K-pop song in 2013. So,
All right, so that wraps up this Hit Rewind episode for 2013. You guys heard from us, but now we want to hear from you guys. So which K-pop song from 2013 do you think wins this debate for most memorable, iconic, game-changing, everything? So you can catch our poll on all of our socials at the K-pop cast.
woohoo. So, wrapping up, especially with our special guests, thank you for bringing your insights, your wisdom, your jokes, all of that. Please let our listeners know where they can find you online and anything you're working on that you want to plug. I'm going to start with you, Tamar.
You can find my newsletter, Notes on K-pop, on Substack. And I'm Tamar Writes across Instagram and Threads and Blue Sky, which I always think of as Blue Ski. I'm not currently active on Twitter X, so Instagram is probably where I'm most active nowadays. But if you want to subscribe to my newsletter, that's where I put all my work and share what I'm working on. And I don't know when this is going to come out, but I'm currently working on a holiday gift guide for K-pop hags. So, so whenever this comes out, I don't know how successful it'll
Signing
be.
up.
But I like figure it'll be a fun thing to do. So I hope you guys all enjoy. And I'm gonna go finish after this recording. I'm gonna go reread that article about Sun W because Joe, really, you made me. I want to go listen to her and love her all over again.
Yay.
Joe, where can people find
Joe.
you?
So I am also on a social media hiatus. If you want to follow me, I am at Journalistic Joe on Instagram. Journalistic, Joe, all one word. If you know me in the Slack, I just go by Jo. But I don't feel like putting that much time in changing that at this point. Also, find me in the Slack. I did.
You can't miss it.
Like I do some interesting. I do interesting posts from now. Every now and then, I did a post inspired by Tamar's Notes on K-pop from a couple of weeks ago about K-pop being in English. So I did a little deep dive of American artists who have done music in other languages, like Nat King Cole's Autumn Leaves in Japanese and Motown in German, Spanish, and Italian.
Yeah, I had no idea. See,
wanna
these are
go
the
read
kinds
that.
of gems you can find in our Slack. Thank you, Joe, for sharing. All right, you can find me at Catchlight27 on Instagram. And yeah, you know what? I'm not really active on Twitter/X either anymore. So I'm going to fade out on that. What about you, Michaela?
And I am at oh gosh.
New name.
No, I am at Michaela J K-pop on Twitter, and of course, you can find all of us at the K-pop Cast. Links in the description of this episode. Okay, goodbye, everybody.
See ya.